It's Kelly here. All of this said, I've seen estimates, I don't know if they're the most official, whatever, that Democrats could get something like 40 House seats in the midterms later this year. So could you just comment on that? What if that's the case? What's the plan? What do you think their plans are? This is coming into the timeline now that the markets have to think about it.
No, I mean, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win because the left, every position they take is crazy. You know, I don't know if I said this on your show a few weeks ago, but I was doing some interview and I said, I think this election is really going to come down to a couple sentences. They're crazy, we're not. And you can look at every policy they have. We just talked about sanctuary jurisdiction policy. That's crazy. It makes absolute no sense. This idea that, we're going to defund ICE makes no sense. We're going to defund the police. That's crazy. We're going to have men compete against women in sports. That's crazy. We're going to shut down the government for 42 days in the fall, 50-some days here in the spring. All those things are crazy. So I do think we have to remind the voters that the left is crazy, and I think we can win this midterm election and sort of defy the trend that's been there when it comes to the midterm elections, and then also remind the voters that we did what we said. We cut taxes and secured the border and everything else.
There's people who would use the slogan, I think, right back against you and say, all this stuff is what they're doing is crazy. And so I don't know if that plays to people who just feel, look what we've pointed this out, that the campaign that Tom Steyer is running for governor of California is not one where he's shying away or following the playbook of moving back to the quote-unquote middle at all. And maybe that's just California. But there's been certain elections and districts that tells you the electorate is in the mood to hear something with whether it's Mamdani or Steyer that's not necessarily coming back to the middle. So I just wonder what policy moves we could potentially be bracing for.
Well, I think we remind the voters of what I said. We did what we were told them we were going to do. We cut their taxes, let them keep more of their money for, go after their goals and dreams. We secured the border like we said we were going to do. We were stopping Iran from getting nuclear weapons. The president was clear about that in the campaign. I think we remind them of all that. And then, frankly, I think and Joe just mentioned this whole fraud that's going on, what we uncovered in Minnesota, and now the same thing is happening in California. I think that's an important issue, and we have to talk about that as well and how we're dealing with that and protecting taxpayer dollars.